Gholdengo EX has been around since Paradox Rift, but it's starting to make more appearances in competitive tournaments. It came in 3rd at the most recent LAIC, and it's had several placements in the top 8 of the regional in Stuttgart. So why is this deck suddenly coming back? So welcome back to the PokéStop, and today I'm super excited to look into the existing archetype Gholdengo EX that has really been revived by the new Surgic Sparks A-Spec Energy Search Pro. Now this card allows you to take any number of basic energies from your deck and put them into your hand as long as they're energies of different types. And this really fuels Gholdengo's Make It Rain attack that does 50 damage for each energy card you've discarded in this way. So this solves a problem that Gholdengo used to have, in that you have Energy Retrieval or Superior Energy Retrieval to get cards back once you've used them to do consecutive attacks, but getting the initial attack off and getting them out of your deck to begin with was the hard part, and now it's solved by Energy Search Pro. So turn 2, you can search up your A-Spec, use that to take all of the energy out of your deck, use it, and then it's unlocked for the rest of the game. Gholdengo also has a bunch of your draw support, so you have one card you can draw if it's on your bench, or an extra card, so 2 cards if it's in your active spot. And with so many ways to draw cards in this deck, you have Gholdengo, Radiant Greninja, Fezandipiti, there's a PokéStop later on. It makes cards like Ciphermaniac's Codebreaking just completely essential, and that basically becomes a draw 2, or take any 2 cards you want out of your deck. So you use Ciphermaniacs to put 2 cards on top of your deck. If they're item cards, you can use PokéStop and you'll just draw those 2 plus another one. If you have a Gholdengo in your active slot, you'll just draw those 2 cards up, and you can basically find any of the pieces you need, whether that's a Rare Candy to get to a Dusknoir or a Togekiss, or just another piece like a Night Stretcher to get something back from your discard pile, Canceling Cologne so you can hit through a Mimikyu or an Iron Thorns or anything like that. You basically have access to any of the cards that you want. This is almost like an Iono-proof deck, because if they Iono you to 1 or unfair stamp you to 2 cards or something like that, you can just continue drawing, and it's really not that big of a deal. Also, having your draw support and your attacker as one Pokemon leaves plenty of space on your bench for other things. So you have a Dusknoir in here in case you only want to use 4 energies to do 200 damage. You do an extra 130 to take out something like a Charizard or a Dragapult or something else that's pretty big. You also have a Togekiss, which is a fun card from Surging Sparks that allows you to potentially take 1 more prize card. So if you knock something out, you'll flip a coin. If it's heads, you get to take 1 more prize card. So kind of a little coin flippy fun in here to be able to give yourself an advantage, just because you have the space on your bench. So from here, we'll jump into the full deck list and we'll talk about some of the counts that we have of each of these cards. So taking my head out of the way here, we have a 4/4 count of both Gimmighoul and Gholdengo, because that's the most important card in this deck. We have Togepi and Togekiss and a 1/1, as well as Duskull and Dusknoir. I find that most of the time you'll have access to one or the other of these. You won't have access to both because you'll probably prize one of them. There's a good chance of it, but you'll get to it later throughout the game, and you can be pretty creative to find your way around it with all the draw support you have, so not a big deal there. You have Lumineon, so you can search up your Ciphermaniacs whenever you need it, or your Irida if you just want to draw a single card. You have a Fezandipiti, of course, because almost every deck has that these days, and it's helpful for draw support. Radiant Greninja is really helpful earlier on to get some of your energy in the discard pile and to draw more cards. And then you also have Manaphy, because there are plenty of things that are sniping at the bench these days, and none of these are Terra Pokemon, so you're not able to protect yourself. With the Terra Pokemon, gotta have Manaphy to do it, to protect against those attacks. We have 3 copies of Irida just as an item search, as well as a way to find Lumineon, Radiant Greninja, or Manaphy, because all those are water Pokemon. We have Ciphermaniacs, as we talked about, basically a draw 2 cards, put those at the top of your deck, and then use any of your draw support to find them. 1 copy of Boss's Orders. This one, I found myself wanting a boss almost every game at the end of the game, so you can usually find it with all your draw support and your deck that's been combed through, but maybe 1 more Boss's Orders. We have plenty of ways to get the energy back out of your deck, so 4 superior energy retrievals and 1 energy retrieval. And here, for that purpose, we have 4 Buddy-Buddy Poffins to start out the game, 3 Nest Balls to help find those pieces you need, like Lumineon, Fezandipiti, Radiant Greninja, or just a basic Pokemon earlier on, and then Ultra Ball so you can help find your Gholdengos, and also any Pokemon you need. A Night Stretcher in case you want to get something back, so if you need to toss a Fezandipiti in the early game, you can get it back. Same thing with Dusknoir and Dusknoir. If you want to use that again, there's the potential to do that with 2 Night Stretchers in here, and then 2 Rare Candies so you can evolve 2 things throughout the game. Of course, the new star of the show, Energy Search Pro, we have 1 of those because it's an A-Spec. We have 1 counter catcher, so if a lot of the time you'll put a Gimmighoul in your active to start. If it gets knocked out, you can go find your counter catcher, or anytime throughout the game. That's huge in this deck. 1 Canceling Cologne in case you go against a Pikachu, a Mimikyu, and Iron Thorns. Any of those things that have annoying abilities or stop your abilities, you can hit through them with Canceling Cologne. I have a Switch in here because there were a couple times in turn 1 or turn 2 I had something like a Fezandipiti or a Lumineon in the active slot that I started the game out with, and I wanted a way to get it out of the way, so I have a switch in here for that case, an earthen vessel in case you need to find one of your steel, your metal energies earlier on. We have one copy of Gravity Mountain in here because I face a lot of Charizards, a lot of Dragapults, and it's helpful to bring that down to either 300 or 290 HP so I can use one less energy. Instead of having to pull 7 of them, we can get away with 6. And then we will taste the rainbow with all of our energies, a couple extra steel just for Gholdengo EX, but otherwise we want one of each energy so we can pull it using Energy Search Pro. So from here, we'll go ahead and play a couple games. Okay, and here is our first game. So we are going second here. We start with a Duskull, and this is pre-recorded, so I'm just speaking over top of it. But I got a little worried to start out because I saw a Petrarun across the way here, which means I could do a turn 1 donk. So I really should have put that Radiant Greninja down, but I didn't. So if they were able to find a Brute Bonnet and then the proper tool like that energy capsule, they could have just knocked out Duskull in between turns and I would have been done for. We'll put Radiant Greninja down now that I know I need it. And I can also get some energy to draw some more cards here. And I don't think I'm going to need Manaphy early on here, so I want that Night Stretcher. We can get Manaphy back using Night Stretcher if we need to. But I don't think the deck that I'm going to play against here really aims to do damage to the bench with attacks. So we're going to concealed cards. We'll save that mental energy to go on a potential Gimmighoul, but we'll have to use our Irida to get there. So unfortunately we didn't get a Buddy-Buddy Poffin without the supporter card. We'll take Lumineon for the next turn as well as a Buddy-Buddy Poffin and go ahead and get some Gholdengo down here pretty early. We'll also want to attach while we have the chance. I'm thinking about it for a second, but I don't think they're going to snipe this. And then we'll pass from here. So they can knock out the Duskull, which is a little bit of a bummer. We can just Night Stretcher to get it back. But yeah, next turn we'll want to evolve to Gholdengo EX, and then we'll have some additional draw support. And then we can use Lumineon to get Codebreaking or Ciphermaniac's Codebreaking if we need to. But yeah, Petrarun does 5 damage counters in between turns if it's poisoned. So it'll be able to get poisoned if Brute Bonnet gets that Ancient Energy Capsule, whatever that tool is called. But they don't have it in their hand there, so they'll have to research and see if they can find it this way. They'll go Trapinch, which I think is the Cloth deck, which I know this is a new and upcoming deck, but I haven't looked into it all too much. I think Cloth does 30 plus 190 damage, maybe, if it's poisoned or if it has like a special condition applied to it, and that Binding Moki will do an extra 40 if it's poisoned. And then they put a Terrapagos down, which is the 2-prizer that I'll probably want to aim for throughout this game. Luckily, we top deck a Ciphermaniac's Codebreaking, which is great. So we can use that as well as our Gholdengo to draw those 2 cards from the top of our deck. So I'm thinking about how I want to get this Duskull out of the way. We only have 1 energy card in our discard pile, so it'd be kind of a waste of a superior energy retrieval. And I could just switch. I have the switch in my hand, but I wanted to save that for later in the game when I might run into something more difficult or when I wouldn't want to discard the metal energy on my Gholdengo. So while I had a way to get an energy back, I used the Night Stretcher to do so and get Gholdengo back in the active slot. So from here, we can use our Ciphermaniac's Codebreaking to look up a way to evolve this Duskull, as well as our Energy Search Pro to get a bunch of energy in play. So we'll get a Rare Candy, as well as Energy Search Pro. We will use Coin Bonus to get those 2 from the top of our deck. Then we can evolve. And then we'll get all of the energy out of our deck. So again, we're not needing all of this to attack the Petrarun, but we'll get a bunch of it out. And if I were to get Ionode, a lot of it would get returned to the deck. So what we'll want to do here is concealed cards, just to discard one of them. If it's in the discard pile, we can get it back, which is helpful. Looks like we Cursed Blast first, and I know I was deciding between the Cloth and the Brute Bonnet here because I could get rid of either of them. I figured it didn't really matter because they could just Night Stretcher or just Nest Ball for another one. But I went with the one with the tool on it, so debatable if that was the right thing to do or not. Could have been the Brute Bonnet, but I feel like they'd be able to get it back either way. We pulled a Togepi, which is great, out of our prize cards, because that unlocks Togekiss. So now we will concealed cards. Put one of these energies in the discard pile. Get 2 more cards as a Nest Ball and a PokéStop, which is pretty helpful. Then we'll just go ahead and attack here. Get rid of our Peturant. So we only need 2, doing 50 at a time. I could have used more to put some more energy in the discard pile, but I don't think it's too dangerous to leave just 2 energies in my hand. We have the 1 mental energy to go on Gimmighoul in our next turn. So we'll see what our opponent does here. We luckily have Lumineon to look up a supporter in our next turn. They put down another Cloth. As we mentioned, it was pretty easy for them to get back what I knocked out in that last one, but they also have a Buddy-Buddy Poffin, and Mimikyu is kind of annoying, so they're going to try and block with that Mimikyu. But luckily we have a Canceling Cologne in the deck. We won't be able to get our Dusknoir back because we've used one of our Night Stretchers. We only run 2, but they just put 130 damage on us and call it a day. Draw into another energy there. So we'll go ahead and attach that to Gimmighoul for the future. Now we have Lumineon in our hand, so what we could have done is put that down and found Ciphermaniac's Codebreaking. You know, getting another Gimmighoul here is good as well. Just so when we get more Gholdengos in the future, we can do more draw. But yeah, Lumineon should have gone down here so I could get Ciphermaniac's Codebreaking and then done my coin bonus so that I could have picked 2 cards, probably another, you know, an Ultra Ball to get another Gholdengo or something else. But instead, we're just going to get our energy here. So we get the thumbs up. I don't know if that's because they thought I didn't have enough, but again, should have Ciphermaniac'd here to put 2 cards on top before drawing into them. Luckily, we still get the cards that we were going for anyway with Gholdengo, so never punished. We lucked out a little bit there, but we could have done this Lumineon first. Instead, the idea comes to us. We go find our Ciphermaniac. And then we have Gholdengo here, so we can take the top card from our deck because it's on the bench. So we'll get our Togekiss, so we're able to get a shot at an additional prize card. And another Gholdengo. So that, I was thinking maybe for the next turn, I'll be able to draw into that for our additional Gimmighoul. So things end up working out here. We get our Togekiss. And then we have plenty of energy in our hand as we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All we need for Terapagos. Now, if I still had that switch, I could use that instead of keeping my damaged Gholdengo in front of me here. But instead, we'll just have to use the damaged one. We'll put down 5 of those. Take the knockout, and then Togekiss will do a little coin flip here. This game is absolutely skill-based. There's no luck to it, but we will take 3 prize cards instead of 2. And now we're left with just 1 boss's orders and an easy knockout away from winning the game. So of course our opponent's going to go with Mimikyu here. So, you know, the 2 ways we win this game are, it doesn't really matter what they do to this Gholdengo in front of us. We have another one on the bench. We also have some ways to draw cards. So we can get either, you know, another Gholdengo to, you know, evolve the one on the bench. We can use our Canceling Cologne to hit through this Mimikyu, or we can boss's orders something on the bench. They're just going to do a little bit of attaching. We draw straight into that Gholdengo as we had set up on the previous turn. We know we don't need that much energy, so we're going to go ahead and concealed cards 1 away. We also have superior energy retrieval in our hand. Gravity Mountain doesn't do much. Ciphermaniac's not really super needed at this point in the game because we're just trying to get to boss's orders. So we'll coin bonus, use all of our draw support, and there it is. There's the boss's orders. So we will eeny, meeny, miny, mo, one of the tinies on the bench. We'll go with the Trapinch with the energy on it. We'll get our energy. And we'll take our final prize card. I guess we'll attach because why not? And that's it. That's the final prize card. So that's game 1. Pretty fun to, you know, continuously draw all your cards until you have basically your whole deck in your hand. Well, as it was unnecessary to flip for one more coin, but I guess I didn't have a chance. We'll take our 7th prize card, and that's game 1. Okay, so game number 2, we're starting out with a pretty nice hand here. Our opponent mulliganed twice, so we'll get 2 additional cards on top of this. But starting out with Gimmighoul in the active as a single prizer is great. We have 2 Buddy-Buddy Poffin to pull out some more. We have a Gholdengo EX in our hand for the next turn, as well as Earthen Vessel for some energy, and then PokéStop if we feel like we need anything else. So we really just need Energy Search Pro, and we're off to the races here. And we'll see what we're playing against. Also Fezandipiti if we need to, if we get knocked out super early on, that'll help with our draw. We'll take our 2 extra cards. Radiant Greninja and Energy, so fantastic. We'll have some draw right away. But they're going first, so they have an Abra. I think that means they'll want to do some attacks from the bench. Mimikyu, because of course every deck I play against is a Mimikyu these days, as well as a Bidoof. I don't see Bidoof and Bibarel as often anymore, but great card for some draw. All right, Rotom. So they might just instant charge to start out to draw their cards, but we'll see if there's anything else they can get done as well. Yeah, I can't ask for too much more in our hand though. This is a great start, plenty of potential, and that's it. They'll instant charge and send it back. So, Ciphermaniac's Codebreaking is great to see. We have our Duskull in our hand as well as our Dusknoir, so that's an option. We have a Togekiss, but I don't see a Togepi, so we won't have a Togekiss play until later in the game. That's in our prize cards. I think that was all of our Gimmighoul as well. So it looks like we prized a Gimmighoul. Manaphy. Yeah, I think the Alakazam will attack from the bench, but it'll attack the active, so I don't know that Manaphy will stop anything here. We'll put it down just in case, and then we will concealed cards to get some more. All right, Irida is not bad. Ultra Ball will help us get to another Gholdengo in our next turn. I think I'll want to get a Steel type energy down. And again, Fezandipiti, since we filled up our bench, isn't going to be super helpful, but we can get it back with Night Stretcher later on if needed. So we'll just go ahead and attach our energy. Not the biggest deal if that gets knocked out. We can get to our Energy Search Pro and just attach another Steel energy next time. But since it's here, we'll use our continuous coin toss. It hits 20 damage for each heads. It's going to end up taking a knockout. So that kind of wasn't intended, but we'll take it. Getting 2 heads really isn't the toughest thing in the world, so didn't really expect to take that one, but just thought since the energy was there, I probably should pretend that was on purpose, but it wasn't. This Gimmighoul could potentially take out the Mimikyu as well if we need to. It would be tough to hit that many heads in a row, 4 heads in a row, but we'll see what they do. We do give them Fezandipiti, unfortunately, because we knocked something out, but that makes them get another Abra, and they can't evolve it on this turn. So, pros and cons there. But yeah, to get through this Mimikyu, we'll either need our Canceling Cologne, or we can evolve to our Dusknoir and knock it out. Some of the usual ways of doing that. We'll see what else they're able to get done in this turn. They'll use their Max Belt. So however much damage Alakazam usually does, we'll add 50 to that. I thought it was like 120, so it might do 170 now. And Gholdengo has 260, so they'll still take 2 shots to take down Gholdengo. And they'll boss a Gimmighoul here. I think maybe that's just stalling, because if they're going to knock something out, it might have been the Duskull. But we just, in our hand, pull what we need to get our evolve to a Dusknoir, which is nice. Get another Gimmighoul, so we just have tons and tons of cards in our hand to do basically anything we want at this point. We'll go ahead and evolve to our Dusknoir. So that'll make that Mimikyu easy to get out of the way. Before we do our coin bonus, we will Ciphermaniac's Codebreaking. Get our Energy Search Pro. And then, what else do we want? We're not like in dire need of anything else at the moment, which is a nice spot to be in. I think we'll save the Canceling Cologne in case they get that back. I could Canceling Cologne to attack the active and take out something else on the bench. That probably would have been the right play, but I don't think I do that. I think we just take a boss for a future turn. But yeah, maybe I think what I probably could have done here is use the Dusknoir to take out the Abra on the bench to stall them for another turn, and then just Canceling Cologne to take out their Mimikyu. We'll go ahead and Ultra Ball here. Probably get ourselves another set of draw with Gholdengo EX. So we'll put that down, get one more card from that. But first we'll take a bit of the rainbow here. All right, so Dusknoir goes ahead and takes out the Mimikyu. Again, several ways we could have done this. I think at the time I was thinking maybe they'll offer a 2-prizer. Not that they would, but just in case they wanted to make a mistake, they could have offered up, you know, the Rotom or the Fezandipiti. Not that, again, nobody's going to do that, but sometimes mistakes are made. I guess that's what I was banking on here. And I'll just go ahead and offer up the Bidoof. Probably the smartest choice by them. But yeah, I think I probably should have taken out that Abra. But anyways, I need an energy here, so we'll go ahead and attach that. And then we'll do a simple attack here. We just need 2 energy. And we'll take out the Bidoof. So that at least limits their draw if they're looking for a barrel. Take our prize card, which ends up being our 4th Gimmighoul. All right, so they're probably going to put the Abra in front of us now, evolve it. Although I think they want to do that attack from the bench. They can do it from either in front of us in the active or from the bench. So we'll see what they end up doing. In this turn, they have plenty of cards in their hand. I don't play an Iono in this deck, which there were a couple times as I was playing through it where I realized maybe I should add an Iono in here. So that's something to consider. But yeah, Dimensional Hand does 120. It can also attack from the bench. And then their first move there, I think, does more damage depending on how many Pokemon I have on my bench, which I don't have a full bench, which is good. Looks like they go ahead and get another Mimikyu out. And I think we'll want to play around that for the rest of the game. So we can use our Canceling Cologne, and if they pull it out one more time, then we can potentially go for something else. You know, Boss's Orders our way around it. They Iono us down to 3 cards, but with all the draw we have, we're kind of Iono proof. It doesn't really matter. Even if they knock out our active, we can put another Gholdengo in and have a minimum of 3 cards. We can get 2 more if we discard using Radiant Greninja. If we find our Fezandipiti, we get 3 more cards that way. So there's just so many ways we can get cards in this deck that Iono and Unfair Stamp really don't have too much an effect. All right, so from here, it looks like we're going to want to Irida, because I know I for sure want that Canceling Cologne. I could have probably done all my coin bonuses first, just to see if I got the Canceling Cologne before and, you know, chosen something else. But I just really wanted to make sure I got the Canceling Cologne because I think that's what I had in mind for this turn. We also have Gravity Mountain. That'll lower Alakazam a little bit. I don't think it matters as much. I think we're going to want to boss up something else at the end of the game with Rotom and Fezandipiti sitting there. But yeah, we have the energy we need here, just the 2 of them. We only need 1. I didn't realize that Mimikyu is weak to steel when I went to do this attack, so I really just need 1 energy here to take it out. Would have been cool to have Togekiss here at it for, you know, a chance at another prize card, but now we're down to 2. There's Togepi. So we really just need the boss out of these last 22 cards in our deck. And I know I didn't do a good job of prize checking in this. So one way we could get Boss's Orders is to use that Ultra Ball, discard some things and pull it out. We could also use all of our draw support we have here to try and find it. So plenty of ways to get to Boss's Orders. They're just going to stick another Mimikyu in front of us and hope we can't get around it, but at this point in the game, it might be a little bit too late. Even if they take out Gholdengo here, we have 2 more, which they do. So they'll go down to 3 and just hope they can stall us. So Gholdengo gets promoted. We have 3 superior energy retrievals, so we can definitely get all of the energy we need out of the deck. We have Ultra Ball, Togepi, Gravity Mountain aren't needed. Oops, and no fish. So I must have prized it, unfortunately. That would have been one way to get to boss's orders. But we'll thin the Gimmighoul out. I'm trying to see, I think, here if I discarded it at some point and didn't realize it, but apparently I prized Lumineon, which is unfortunate because that would have been an easy way to get to boss's orders. Instead, we'll get a little bit more draw here just to make sure we can get to boss's orders. So we can draw 2 with Gholdengo, 3 with Fezandipiti, and 1 with another Gholdengo. So we'll flip the script. Nope, not there. We also have a card we can discard with Radiant Greninja and get 2 more. So we'll just keep digging until we find it. There's the switch, so no on that one. Get 1 more card with this Gholdengo. And there it is. So with all this draw support, there's a good chance you're going to find the cards that you need. There were still 14 cards left in the deck, so maybe I could have thinned out a little bit more earlier on, but we'll go ahead and boss's orders the Rotom because we have all of the cards we need to knock it out. We honestly still could have gone for the Alakazam, but that's all we needed for this game. So that is all for this deck. I have genuinely really enjoyed playing it. I'm probably going to continue for a little while just because of all the draw support. I think it makes it feel like you can do anything you want at any point, and you don't really get stuck too often. As long as you get your Gholdengo set up, you're good to go and draw cards. So thank you for watching if you made it this far. Make sure to watch one of these 2 videos if you want some more, and if not, we'll see you in the next one.